All right, well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today. And so today we're hosting Emily Winter, and she's a somatic experiencing practitioner at Elevate Wellness Center. Emily is a great asset to our team and also a great asset to our time right now. This is our second, so it's the part 2 of somatic experiencing. We did one about 2 or maybe 3 weeks ago now. I can't remember. The time is, what day is it today? Anyhow, I know it's hard to be attentive to where we are today, but that's kind of the point of somatic experiencing, is bringing all of that, your awareness and back to your current space. And that can also help to settle our nervous system. So if you didn't join us for the first one, no worries, because she's going to be going over some of the tools that she did last time, but also adding some new ones. So for those who had attended prior to this. So just to start things off, just a quick reminder that everyone should be on mute and have the video off. We are recording this so that if you do have to cut out early, we can send you the video afterwards. We also have a few other upcoming events that I want to let you know about. So on next Friday, we actually have 2 events. So one is hosted by us, and it's a free event. It's with our new functional nutritionist, and her name is Chelsea Moore. And she'll be doing a presentation on nutrition and lifestyle applications for immune support during this time. And I am proud to be a presenter at this year's, it's a first year event through Tahoe Retreat Center, and it's called the Virtual Bliss Assembly. I'll be speaking on Friday morning at 9:30. That's also the same day, Friday, April 24th. It's a 4-day event, so it starts on Wednesday and it runs to Saturday. It's from April 22nd to the 25th, and it's hosted by Tahoe Yoga, and which is now also Tahoe Retreat Center. And there's going to be a lot of various presenters on health and wellness from our local community. I will be speaking on Spring into Spring. So it's the Chinese medicine view of how to achieve optimal health during this time, as spring, and we are in our liver season, and how to really support ourselves. So in the meantime, I hope you enjoy this session. If you have any questions, please go ahead and put it into the chat box, and at the end of the session, we can go over those questions together. So I'm going to pass this off to Emily, and we're just going to welcome Emily. Thank you.
All right, there we go. All right, well, thanks so much, Melinda, for the introduction, and just want to extend my deepest gratitude for all of you who are joining in today from all over. Just really happy to be here and to be able to offer some techniques that I use on a regular basis to keep myself calm and regulated, and also that I use with clients through my somatic experiencing practice. So I felt inspired to share a quote today as we begin from one of my favorite authors. Her name is Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, and she is a Jungian psychoanalyst, best-selling author, and a trauma worker as well. And she writes, "No matter where we are, the shadow that trots behind us is definitely four-footed." And what I believe this to allude to is the idea that we all have these incredible animal bodies. There is in each one of us a wild, natural, instinctual part that will always be there, just based on the fact that we are mammals and we are animals. So our bodies carry a tremendous amount of wisdom and information based on millions of years of evolution. And now is a time when it could be really helpful to start to tune in to some of that wisdom, to try to understand what some of those messages are that your body is sending you, and how to work with your nervous system and your body to achieve a different state of being or a different felt sense. So many folks are experiencing symptoms of some kind right now. And those might be symptoms that you've had for a while from some health condition or some past trauma, or you might be experiencing some new symptoms because this is an unprecedented time. It's a lot of added stress, fear, and there's a lot of uncertainty about our present and about our future. So it's really natural for our bodies to start to respond as if there is a threat present, right? Because there is. So our bodies are really sending us messages through these symptoms that we might be experiencing that we're feeling unsafe. So we can really appreciate that a little bit, maybe about some of those symptoms like insomnia or anxiety, feeling irritable, feeling shut down, having chronic or recurring pain in your body, autoimmune things. You know, these are all indications that there's something going on in your body that's sending signals to you that says, you know, something's not quite right. I feel a little unsafe. So even with everything that's going on right now, there are still ways we can work with our nervous systems to introduce a sense of relative safety. There might be a threat out there. It's very real, and our nervous systems are responding to that because they're wise and they're going to take care of us like that. But we can also work in the present moment to bring ourselves into some greater sense of calm and presence. If we're safe right here, right now, can we tune into that and start to feel that a little bit more? So all the exercises I'll offer today, they are either meant to support your nervous system as a whole, to nourish your nervous system, to help it to calm and settle. And some of the exercises directly target the vagus nerve, which we'll talk about a bit more later. But the vagus nerve plays a very important role in your felt sense of safety. And it sends a lot of subconscious messages up to your brain to inform you whether your body is feeling okay or not. So as we begin, I just want to offer a little overview of the format for how I'll introduce things throughout our session today. I'm going to begin just by introducing a somatic exercise or a skill. I'll talk a little bit about what the impact or effect of that exercise might be on the nervous system or on your felt sense. Then we'll do the exercise together. I'll invite you to practice with me. Of course, everything's optional. And then after we do the practice, we'll pause and just take a short moment to bring some curiosity to how did that exercise affect your nervous system? So I'll invite you after we do each exercise to really feel into your own body, into your breath, and just notice, you know, what effect did that exercise have on me? Because my hope is that you'll identify at least a few exercises from our experience together today that you might be able to use again in the future. If you're starting to notice some anxious energy rising in your body, or if you're starting to feel like you're going more into that shut down, kind of frozen, stuck place, or if you're moving towards depression, or if you're feeling chronic pain, you know, any of these things, there might be some exercise that actually has a really supportive effect on releasing tension, on helping you to relax, on supporting you to become a bit more present. So we'll begin by just doing a little bit of gentle movement to help us actually get into our bodies a little bit. Well, I've been talking for a little while, so most of you, including me, are up here. Right? We're thinking, we're processing information, you're using your eyes to look at the screen and see me talking. So we're going to spend a little time in the beginning here just doing some practices to help us feel a little more embodied, to bring more of that sensory experience online. And in order to also start to move or activate a little bit of that energy, to mobilize a little bit of energy in your body so you can really start to feel your own vital life force in you. So I'll invite you to begin today just by starting to gently circle your wrists. And you can let your arms just rest in your lap. I'm just lifting mine so you can see. And you can circle your wrists with your fingers relaxed. Or you might play with bringing your hands into small fists. And as you're circling your wrists, I'll invite you also to try to relax your jaw a little bit. And then let your wrists be still. And let's spend a moment working with the finger joints. So opening the hands and then just closing the hands. And you can do this faster or slower than me. I invite you through each one of these practices. See what feels best for you. How does your nervous system want you to move? Just to offer an example of that, if you're feeling a lot of anxious energy and you have some of that kind of jittery, buzzy feeling in your body, then you might want to go a little faster and really squeeze those hands into fists, right? Because that's going to be supporting more of that energy to release. Or you can just move nice and slow and see what effect that has. And then let's let the hands release and let's start to work through the elbow joint. So just straightening your arms and gently bending. And again, you can move your hands in front of you or out to the side. We're just feeling into our elbow joints. And just notice what sensations come up for you. Letting a breath out. Relax your arms and gently find some shoulder rolls. So we're moving slowly through the joints of our bodies. In somatic experiencing, it's thought that the joints contain a tremendous amount of potential energy. Energy that's ready to do something, ready to move. And energy can kind of also get stuck and locked up in our joints, leading to tension or restricted movement or pain. So we're just introducing ourselves back into our bodies through our joints, through nourishing our joints. Let's let the shoulders relax. Maybe take a breath here, just letting yourself pause in stillness for a moment. And relax your jaw again. And we're gently going to sweep the head very slowly, side to side. So be mindful with your neck here, to being really gentle. You start to lower your ear toward your shoulder, and ever so slowly sweeping your head side to side. And we're not going all the way around in a circle. It's not so good on the cervical spine to go all the way around in a complete circle. But we're just working through the joints of the neck. And then slowly starting to come back to neutral. And we're just going to keep going with this throughout the rest of the body. So you might come away from the back of your chair here for a moment because we're going to work with our spine. And just like little cat-cows in a yoga class, if you've done that, you're going to find some flexion and extension of the spine. So letting your back round, you can curl your chin, roll your shoulders forward, and then gently move in the opposite direction. Lift your heart. You might lift your gaze up toward the ceiling, stretching your neck. And just a few more, nice and slow, feeling a beautiful articulation of your spine. Again, just making these movements your own. They might be really tiny movements just in your upper back, or they might be bigger, taking up your whole back, even moving into your low back and sacrum. All right, let's start to come back to neutral. Just letting yourself settle, feet planted on the floor. And just take a moment to notice here, do you feel a little more landed in your chair? And if the answer is no, that's completely fine. The whole point of this is just to bring a little self-inquiry to what is happening in my nervous system. So let's move into our hips. Just gently starting to shift your weight from one sits bone to the other. As you shift to the right, feel your left side pick up. As you shift to the left, feel the right side pick up. And you might find a little rhythm here. Just noticing your hips shifting, feeling the chair under you or the floor if you're sitting on the floor. As you're swaying side to side, I'm going to invite you to gently let your gaze travel around the room you're sitting in, just nice and slow. And as you're gazing around your space, your safe space today, notice what your eyes want to look at. Is there anything in your room or maybe out a window that naturally draws your gaze? And just allow your gaze to be drawn to that thing or that view as you continue swaying. So we're just orienting with our eyes to something right here, right now, in the present moment that's pleasant to look at, right? Something good. And let's start to make our way back to a neutral seat. Just let yourself relax back against the back of your chair or couch. And we're going to just gently stretch the legs out. You can't see my legs, but I'll walk you through it. We'll work next with our knee joints. So you're just gently going to pick your feet and your calves up off the floor, and then bend your knees and let your feet come back down. So just float your feet up off the floor, straightening the knees, and bend your knees, let your feet come down. Do it a few more times. Just feel your knees. How is it to move through your knee joints in this slow and mindful way? And then let your legs just relax, let your thighs relax. They just got a mini workout. And then we're going to just circle our ankles. If circling your ankles is uncomfortable or unsafe in your ankles for whatever reason, you can try pointing and flexing your feet instead, or just working with the ankle joint in whatever way makes sense for you. As you move your ankles, can you feel your ankles moving? Nice, and then just let the feet relax again onto the floor. And finally, we'll work with the toes. So just curling your toes into little balls, and then trying to flare your toes out like monkey toes. And then again, curling the toes in, and then flaring the toes out. And then do a few more just like that. Feel your toe joints getting a little mobilizing. And then come to a place of stillness in your chair. And you can either let your eyes just look down at your lap, relaxing your eyes, or if you have something in your space that you like to look at that you just discovered, why don't you let your eyes land on that thing? And just spend a moment or two here of sensing inward. What's happening below the neck? There's no wrong answer to that question. It's all about bringing some curiosity into your body. Sometimes moving like that can make us feel more embodied, more grounded, like we're sitting in our chair in this moment. Sometimes starting to move like that can actually bring up some of that anxious energy. If that was kind of stuck and we were holding it down before, and then we start to let our bodies move, we can get a little activated sometimes and start to feel some heat, maybe a little perspiration, maybe a little faster heart rhythm, and that's okay. So just notice. And now that we're a little bit more in our bodies, hopefully, we're going to work with our breath and do a breathing practice. So the breath is incredibly important to the function of the nervous system. And as many of you have probably experienced, anytime we feel fearful or anxious or stressed, our breath can get a little bit shorter, tighter, smaller. It can move faster, it can make our heart beat faster, and just generally kind of continue leading to us feel more and more stressed out. So the breath is a wonderful kind of window into what's happening in your nervous system. So we're not going to force any change in the breath. We don't want to force the body to do anything. We just want to invite or allow the breath to begin to slow down little by little. So I'll invite you just to soften your gaze again and draw some awareness to your breath. First, just noticing how deep is your breath today. Can you sense any movement in your body as you breathe in and out? So possibly sensing your breath in your chest or shoulders. Maybe in your belly. You can soften and relax down through your abdomen here. And then if you'd like to join in, I'm going to offer a breathing practice that is really meant to support a relaxing effect in the nervous system. So it can help to actually shift the breathing pattern from one of more of that anxious, activated breathing to much more relaxed and settled breath, which in turn leads to a different felt sense all throughout our body because it shifts our physiology when we breathe slowly and calmly. So I'll invite you as you're breathing to start to count, and maybe count to 4 or 5 seconds on the inhale or whatever is available to you. And then maybe 6 or 7 seconds on the exhale. So we're making the exhale longer than the inhale, just by a few seconds. So I'll lead one round. And again, if you have a shorter or longer breath than I'm cueing, that's fine. Make this practice your own. We'll begin just by a long breath out. And then inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just continuing that, finding your own rhythm. If you're enjoying this breath practice, then I'll offer a next step that you can choose to add on if you want. And this is the idea of blowing bubbles, like through a little bubble wand when you were a kid, or maybe as an adult. I still blow bubbles, right? And blow bubbles through that bubble wand, but just like that with the exhale. So it'll look kind of like this. So just a few rounds of that might be enough. You might feel, whoa, this is doing something to my nervous system. So I encourage you to just give yourself a rest. If you're noticing something shifting, take a pause, let your breath return to normal, and just get curious about what's happening there in your nervous system. If you're blowing bubbles here, make sure it's very gentle. We're not really forcing air out. You don't want those bubbles to pop before they float free of the wand, right? And again, I'll invite you just to all relax, and why don't you soften your gaze again, or let your eyes return to that object or view that you enjoy. And just letting your body breathe itself naturally. Check in with how that was for your nervous system. Are you feeling any more sense of relief or calm in your body? Does your breath feel perhaps a little deeper, fuller, or more rhythmic? Or something else? All right, I'm just fluttering your eyes open if you have your eyes closed. Now we're going to do some exercises that work directly with the vagus nerve. And before we do, I'm just going to talk for just a minute or two about the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve, and it originates in the brainstem, so right at the base of your skull where your brainstem is. And vagus means to wander. So the vagus nerve wanders all throughout your body. Part of your vagus nerve goes into the muscles of your face and your neck and has a lot to do with your facial expressions and your tone of voice. And part of your vagus nerve wanders down into all of your viscera. And it works with the heart, works with your lungs, with all of your digestive system. And the vagus nerve is really important in how safe we feel in general. So if you've ever had just a gut instinct, gut feeling about something, and it wasn't really a thought process, it was more just a sense, something's not quite right here. That's the work of your vagus nerve, because your vagus nerve tells your brain how safe your body is feeling. So it's kind of like the brain of your body in some ways. It has a lot of information about how safe you're feeling in that moment. And when we work with the vagus nerve, when we work to support and nourish the vagus nerve, then we can have even easier access to those feeling states of resilience, of calm presence in our body, and of safety. Even if there are threats around us, can we be present? Right? That has a lot to do with the health and strength of the vagus nerve. So we'll move through several different practices now that affect the vagus nerve. The first one is another breathing practice, but this time, instead of just inhaling and exhaling, we're going to inhale and make a deep humming sound on the way out, on the breath out. So it looks kind of like this. So you're all on mute, so you can explore that on your own, taking a nice full breath in, and then just making that deep humming noise on the way out. Feel the vibration. Notice where you notice that vibration in your body, maybe in your lips, maybe down your throat, maybe in your belly or your viscera. So there's a few options here. You can hum with the mouth closed, with the jaw relaxed, or you can make that noise with the mouth open. I like it more with the mouth open because I can get a deeper sound that way, and deeper vibration of the sound can reach further down into my viscera and shake up and affect all those organs that the vagus nerve is innervating. So we're changing and affecting the signal that the vagus nerve is sending to your brain about your level of safety by helping those organs and those systems start to relax. So if you want to do it with the mouth open, it looks like this. Ooh. So you might take a moment, if you haven't already, give yourself a try. You can do that one or a couple times, and then just, again, taking a moment to relax and see, how did that affect your body? I do want to make a note here that sometimes when we start to wake up those structures that are affected by the vagus nerve, if there is a lot of energy stored and kind of stuck in those places, then this kind of practice can be really activating. So it can have a relaxing effect, or it can start to bring up and move whatever is stuck in there. So I want to normalize that. If any of you got hot or started to feel agitated or not okay, that might be a great opportunity just to write a little question or comment if you have additional questions about what happened as you were doing that. And then we can address that at the end of this webinar. All right. So the next piece we're going to do here that works with the vagus nerve is what I like to call face yoga. And it's just a method of working with the structures of your face. So remember I mentioned the vagus nerve goes up into your face, and it has a lot to do with how do you hold your face? Is your face open and receptive and kind and ready and willing to meet the world? Or do you feel like you hold tension or a sense of stuckness in your face? Maybe you have some tension in your jaw. So working with the structures of the face, just like we did that vibration down into our viscera, we can start to shift what the nervous system of the face is doing. So face yoga also involves humor, which is incredibly important when we're working with the vagus nerve, and just trauma in general, healing trauma, bringing some humor into that can be a really huge resource, even when it feels like it might be the opposite type of experience. So for face yoga, I'm going to just say a couple different poses and then I'll demonstrate. And so I'll say pose 1 and then do the shape with my face, and I'll invite you just to kind of copy the face that I'm making on the screen. All right. Pose 1. And relax. Pose 2. Relax. Pose 3, other side. Relax. Pose 4. Relax. Relax your jaw. Pose 5. Relax. Whew, take a breath. And pose 7. Relax. You might want to move your jaw around a little bit. You might want to move your head a little side to side. And the final pose. And relax. So again, just let's pause here so you can feel your face after scrunching it, squishing it, stretching it, clenching, and just notice how it feels now. And I'll share for me, my eyes feel softer and my jaw feels much more relaxed. And I'm still discharging a little energy. If you notice that sigh that I just let out, it's just a sign that, oh, my nervous system is still kind of settling down after making those facial expressions. All right. So the next thing we're going to move into, still working with the vagus nerve, moving into a series of self-holds and a little bit of self-massage that we're going to do. So we'll begin with a jaw release practice, bringing the fingertips up just below the cheekbone and let your lower teeth separate from your upper teeth. And from here, we'll just gently start to draw the fingertips down toward the line of the jaw. And then forward toward your chin. And you can do that a few more times. And you get to decide how much pressure is under your fingers. And just offering your jaw a little massage. You can circle your 2 fingers right in that muscular area around the jaw joint. And be gentle here, especially if you clench your teeth or have tension in your jaw. Just being really nourishing and kind of having this essence of sweetness that you're bringing under your fingertips. You offer some sweetness to your jaw. And then just releasing from the jaw. I'm going to move to our ears. I'll pull my hair back. So for the ears, try to do this with these silly earbuds in. I'm going to start to just massage your ears, gently pulling, squeezing the earlobes. Just squeezing between your fingers. And you can gently pull your ears back a little bit as you do that. And we have lots of acupressure points in our ears. And this can have somewhat of a calming effect or a little bit of a reset for your nervous system. I'm just working with your ears. And then let's spend a moment just working with our neck. You can just massage however feels good to you here, working right at the base of the skull where your brainstem lives. The skull and the neck meet. And then maybe drawing those fingers down the sides of your neck a few times or down the back of your neck. Again, just how much sweetness can you offer your neck through your hands here? Well, we talked about this in the first webinar I offered, but our neck, jaw, and shoulders are the primary culprits for tension when we are stressed out. So offering some self-love and self-massage to these structures, maybe before you go to sleep at night, that can really support a better night's sleep, help you to relax some of that tension. And let's just let the hands relax down. So as we continue to move into a few more self-holds and then a brief meditation, I want to introduce this concept of heart coherence. Now, heart coherence is something there's been a tremendous amount of research on, and if you're curious, you can look up the Heart Math Institute. But heart coherence is when the pattern of the rhythm of our heartbeat has a very rhythmic wave to it. Coherence means that the heart and the other systems of the body are working in harmony and in equilibrium. So an easy way to think about this is a state of flow in your body. When all your different systems are communicating with each other, they're talking to each other, and there's nothing blocked, there's nothing stuck. Coherence, when we're in a state of coherence, it's actually really supportive for our immune system. It helps build our resilience, and just is overall really wonderful to support you during this time. When we're in coherence, the electrical activity of our heart can be measured 2 to 3 meters outside of your body. So we're going to move into this state together, and you'll be able to feel that kind of resonance within your system. But the important piece about that is when we're in a state of that coherence, where the brain and the heart and all the other systems are communicating and working together harmoniously, we're sending that coherence out, and we can affect the coherence of other people. So heart coherence is contagious. So I understand we're all social distancing and you might be far away from folks, but I have firsthand experience that this also works on Zoom. So you can do heart coherence with folks even over the internet. It's a really lovely practice just to get yourself into that state of balance and flow in your body. So there are 40,000 neurons, nerve cells, that connect the heart with the brain and that communicate. The heart itself even has a group of cells that's like the brain of your heart, and it can learn and it can remember and it can sense and it can feel. So there's a lot of wisdom and intelligence in your heart as well. So let's move into an exercise that is all about how your brain and your heart are communicating with each other. And for this practice, I invite you to bring one hand onto your heart. And then if it's available, and this might be tricky if you have shoulder stuff going on, if it's available, bring one hand onto your brainstem. So the brainstem is that place where your head meets your neck. Right? So half my hand's on my skull and half's on my neck, just supporting that area. I'll invite you just to soften your gaze down. And first, just notice your breath. And if your arm gets tired, you can just give yourself rest, or you might switch arms. And just noticing how it is first for you to be holding yourself here. Does this feel okay in your body? Is there anything comfortable or pleasant about this? Just offering yourself a little support. And then I will invite you just to bring your awareness to the channel you're creating between your hands. And just noticing under your hand that's over your heart. Can you sense your heart beating there? Can you feel the expansion and contraction of your chest as you breathe? And if there was a message that your heart wanted to send to your brain, what might that be? If your upper arm is tired, you can just let it relax. And you might still be able to sense the support of your hand on the back of your head, even if your hand is not there. Just continuing to breathe. And now keeping one hand on your heart, let's move the other hand onto your belly. So wherever is comfortable for you to place that hand. Mine falls right around my navel, but you might be above or below your navel or somewhere else. And now all we're doing is we're just sensing that place between the hands. Again, there's communication happening between your heart and all of your digestive organs, all of your viscera, all of those complex structures are talking to each other. And just continuing to breathe. And again, if there's a message that your heart might want to offer to your belly, what do you imagine that might be? This is when we just get creative and curious. What would you like that message to be? And again, just letting the hands relax. And just notice how you feel in this moment. You can feel free to let your eyes wander again, just letting yourself orient back into your room for a moment after we were moving so inward and into our bodies. And just notice how you've landed in your chair. And if there's any adjustment you need to make so you can feel a little more comfortable. As we're going to move into the final part of this webinar, which is a meditation on creating heart coherence. So getting all of those structures in your body communicating at the same time with your heart. Now, there are a lot of measurable effects of this when you are in coherence. I don't have time to go into all of them today, but again, there's a lot of information online. The meditation I'm going to lead is adapted from one that I learned and was led through during my advanced somatic experiencing training. And this is by faculty at the Trauma Institute, Lael Keen. And this is a combination of her meditation and the heart coherence meditations from the Heart Math Institute. So I'll invite you first just to make sure you're seated as comfortable as possible right now. And you can either allow your eyes to close or just soften your eyes down at your lap. And I invite you to bring either one or both hands to rest on your heart. Inviting your breath to slow. Imagine that you are breathing in and out of your heart. And keeping your awareness there as you inhale, feeling your heart expand with that breath. And as you exhale, feeling your heart soften as the breath flows out. And just spending a little moment here, seeing if you can sense your heart beating in your chest. Breathing in and out of your heart space. And see if you can sense that pulsation. Well, some folks can't feel their heartbeat so easily, and that's completely fine and natural too. If that's you, I just want you to imagine that you're breathing in and out of your heart space, lengthening your breath and making your exhales a little bit longer than your inhales. This next part is for those who can sense their heart beating under the palm. As you notice your heart beating, see if you can sense your heartbeat in your hands. Down your arms. In your shoulders. In your neck. Maybe between your ears. Can you sense your heart beating down your back? In your front body, in your belly, your hips. Can you sense that rhythm in your thighs? Down your calves. In your feet. I'm just noticing if you have this sense of things starting to resonate a little more harmoniously inside. And draw your attention back to your heart beating in your chest. I'll invite you to begin a breathing practice where you're inhaling for 5 or 6 heartbeats. You're exhaling for 7 or 8 heartbeats. And again, if you're not sensing your heartbeat, inhale for 5 or 6 seconds. And exhale for 7 or 8 seconds. And see if you can sense that rhythm throughout your whole body as you're doing that breath practice. Inhaling 5 or 6 beats. Exhaling 7 or 8 beats. As you're continuing to breathe here with your heart beating, I invite you to remember a time when you felt joy or deep gratitude or delight. And give yourself time to allow that memory to come to you. Just a time when you remember some goodness. Continuing to feel your heart beating. Be curious about the sensations in your body as you bring in this memory of joy. How is this memory of goodness treating your body? Do you notice certain things softening? Maybe your back expanding against the back of the chair suddenly. Maybe your jaw finding even more release. Maybe there's a sense of your heart swelling. When we cultivate gratitude, it releases endorphins, hormones that dilate the blood vessels around our heart, and it actually makes our heart swell up. So you might have a sense of that in your body as you're remembering this time of joy in your life. And just continuing to track here for another few minutes. As you hold that memory, those images from that delightful experience, and you sense your vital rhythm resonating through your whole body. What kind of quality arises? And if you feel some expansion or some settling, what happens next? Can you just follow that and see, does it lead to more expansion and settling? Well, sometimes as we relax our nervous systems from a place of activation, it can be a really gradual unwinding process. And just before we come to our completion here, I want to offer just another quote by the same author that we began with, Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, really amazing author and person. And this quote might be a little personal mantra that you carry with you today after spending so much time connecting and communicating with your nervous system, getting curious about your body, trying to tune into its messages. And so feel free to repeat this mentally to yourself if it resonates with you. And the quote is, I am built close to the ground and of extravagant body. I am built close to the ground and of extravagant body. And just giving your heart a moment to take that in and see how your heart likes that. And then gently just let your hands relax down into your lap. Maybe one hand holding the other hand gently. If your eyes are closed, then I invite you to begin to just flutter your eyelids open slowly. And we can all just get oriented again to the space we're in. So just as we did in the beginning, letting your eyes travel with a sense of curiosity about what do your eyes want to see? And how is it for your body when you let your eyes look at that thing and appreciate it? A huge resource for me in this time has just been nature, of course, living here in Tahoe. And so I'll just share, I'm gazing out my window, which is where my eyes always want to orient to in my house. It's looking right outside at the pine trees. And it's actually raining here right now, which is kind of rare for Tahoe, and there's something really lovely about that. And then just gradually letting yourself come back to the screen. And you might even just make a little adjustment with your body. We were just sitting in stillness for a while, so always good to move and mobilize a little bit. All right. Well, that's what I have to offer all of you today. And I look forward to seeing if there were any questions, and would love to just hand this back over to Melinda whenever you're ready, Melinda.
Thank you, Emily. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that journey with Emily. I think I'm going to look and see if there's any questions. And then I have a quick question for you, Emily, before I start that. I was wondering that, a lot of the exercises that we did today are more quiet at home exercises. And especially, I think that this virtual space is so beneficial because we were able to make all those faces, and it might be a little bit funnier or more uncomfortable to do it with everyone else. But what is something that you can do if you're out in public? And right now, there's a lot of anxiety when you go out to the grocery store, or you have to do that dreaded trip to Costco. Is there something that you can do if you're feeling anxious, or you're noticing a heightened sense in your nervous system while you're out and about?
Yeah, great question. Thanks, Melinda. So first, yeah, I'll just address what you brought up. A lot of what we did today, there are things for you to do on your own, at home, to just work to maintain your nervous system, to help you regulate. I love to use these exercises, before I go to bed, or for example, I did a lot of these exercises today because I'm nervous about talking on a screen in front of a bunch of people. So just to regulate myself, when you are at home, that's a great place to use these exercises. But as Melinda said, that's not always the case. And sometimes you're feeling totally comfortable at home, and then you go out in public and things start to not feel so comfortable anymore. So there's a lot of things you can do for that from somatic experiencing, but I'll offer maybe 3 things right now so people can kind of pick and choose. One thing, which is like the stealthiest, most secretive little self-regulation technique that no one will ever know you're doing, is to relax your tongue and your jaw. So our tongue is connected to our vagus nerve also. And if we can simply let the tongue really relax in the mouth, that sends a signal to the vagus nerve. I'm safe, I can calm down. So relax your tongue. You can try it right now and just feel how that is in your body. With more practice, you might notice that each time you relax your tongue, it stimulates a deep sigh of relief from your body. So that's one example. Another example is to find some kind of rhythm to do with your movement and pay attention to that. So when we start to get fearful and anxious, and there's, the world is closing in on us when we're at the grocery store, people are getting a little too close, and then you're feeling that grief of not being able to get close to people. There's a lot of discomfort that comes up in that situation. So we can start to move more into kind of a state of freeze internally, where we're feeling really immobile and kind of stuck and tense and tight, just trying to get out of there as fast as we can. And what I would offer is find some kind of a movement. Now, one great thing is when you're in the grocery store, you're walking around. So can you bring awareness to your feet hitting the floor as you're walking? Can you feel that rhythm? When we bring awareness down to our feet, it helps to ground us, literally, because it's helping us connect more with the supportive structure underneath us. So it can really help us to settle. So walking is a rhythmic thing. Other rhythmic things, waiting in line. Can you just tap your hands, tap your fingers on the grocery cart or something like that with your gloves on, right? Tap, tap, tap. Just find a little rhythm for yourself. Move your shoulders side to side. You know, anyone who knows me knows I'm like constantly moving, swaying, shaking, dancing, just all the time out in public too. So I'm all about encouraging folks to let loose a little bit and find some mobilization in their bodies. But you can do subtle too, you know, just a little rocking. It keeps that energy moving and keeps you from going further into that freeze, kind of withdrawn, shut down state that we really just, we don't want to go there. And then the third thing is, of course, just working with your breath. You know, we did a lot of stuff with our breath today, and you can notice when you're in the store, even with that mask on, there's some discomfort there. But is there any comfort about the fact that you are protecting others by wearing that? You know, it's offering a little bit of a protective shield. And can you notice if you can breathe out a little longer than you're inhaling? Can you do that breath practice as you're going through your shopping of inhale 5, exhale 7, inhale 5, exhale 7, just helping your nervous system stay regulated so it doesn't keep activating and spiraling up and out. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you so much.
Great.
So there is a question that's up, and she had asked, what were the two, if you can repeat the two mantras that you had given. So the first one, I think at the start, and then the last one at the end.
Yeah, so these are quotes from Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes. She wrote Women Who Run with the Wolves, along with a million other incredible books. She's a Jungian psychoanalyst and a trauma worker and a story keeper, storyteller. So the first quote that I used was, "No matter where we are, the shadow that trots behind us is definitely four-footed." Our animal self is always with us all the time, as long as we're in this body, right? So I'll read it one more time. "No matter where we are, the shadow that trots behind us is definitely four-footed." And then the other one at the end, "I am built close to the ground and of extravagant body." I am built close to the ground and of extravagant body.
Thank you, Emily, so much. And thank you again for everyone and taking their time and joining us again today. We will have this as a recording, and so we'll probably share it through social media channels, probably send it out as a newsletter. If you don't have to have access to either one of those, shoot me an email and I can send that, or I can just go ahead and send it out to the list of everyone who joined us today. And we hope that you'll join us again next time. Keep your eyes and ears peeled for other free events that we have going on in terms of education for health and wellness during this time. But thank you again, Emily. We really enjoyed it, and I hope you all enjoyed it too, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I hope to see you all again soon.